Question, Jalen. Gary Payton played 82 games in a season 9 times, tied for third most amongst Hall of Famers. Can you name the others? And by the way, I asked this one question because the season was only 80 games through much of the career of Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain. So I'm assuming that would not include either of them. Go ahead, I'll let you go.
This is a tough one, but I'm going to go with 2 guys that are just overlooked by the history, Stockton and Malone. And my third one, I'm going to give a wild card too. Let me think of 80s. What about, this is a tough one.
Maybe Kareem? Could it be Kareem?
How about an Akeem Olajuwon?
Okay, let's try it.
Let's see.
Oh, so
Oh,
close.
man.
So close.
Oh, Jordan!
Duh.
Close.
Durr.
Let the record show, by the way, that you could
Durr.
play 82 games and still be fresh as a daisy when the playoffs begin
Jordan.
and carry your team
I
to
knew
championship.
Jordan played 82
on,
games with the
Vince.
Wizards. Oh, man.
Do you want to sit quietly in that chair and think about what you've done?
Oh, man.
Okay.
I said
Oh, look
80s.
who's
That's
back.
my
David Woody. D. Wood.
Wait, real quick.
D. Wood.
The daughters did it?
They did it.
They're going. Okay,
They
they're
did
going-
it?
going-
Yeah, of course.
They're bringing it on?
I speak it into existence.
All right, for those who are wondering, last week, kids are going to the cheer. What is it, National Cheer?
Yeah, it's called the Summit.
It's the Bring It On thing,
yeah,
right?
yeah, basically. It's like bring it on steroids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anywho,
That's what's up.
Damien's here, which
Congratulations.
means we probably should talk some football. And this first topic might be Greeny's favorite in a while because it's Carson Wentz, who yesterday at Eagles offseason training program spoke a bit. Remember, he missed the last 3 games and the entire postseason with a knee injury. So he talked about what it was like for him to watch the Super Bowl from the sidelines.
I mean, it was definitely a challenge. You know, it was a challenge just knowing where we were at in the season and then going down. And I learned a lot about myself. You know, I learned a lot about just humility and just, you know, trusting the Lord in the process.
But is there an ounce of jealousy seeing him be the Super Bowl hero?
You know, you got to fight that. You got to fight that. I mean, it's human nature, you know, to want to be that on that podium, to be that guy. You know, you grow up wanting to do that as a kid, but you know, to not be able to be up there, I wouldn't rather have anybody else be up there than Nick.
You couldn't answer that question any better. It's a really difficult question, right? And I have so much respect for the way he answered that question.
Damien, I don't.
Are we beefing
I feel like
already?
we're about to argue about this. 'cause you were
We
like-
might.
Okay,
but
what is your reaction?
Let the record show I'm ready. I'm wound up ready. So let's go.
Okay, so what part of that did you not like? Or
I thought he answered it well. Here's what I'll say about the whole Carson Wentz situation, because I actually went through it as a player. When you're injured, you don't feel a part of the team. Even when the season that Carson Wentz had last year, he probably would have won the MVP had he finished the whole season. He would have been the league MVP. And then you're relegated to just training on the side, rehab. You're not a part of the team. So is there a part of you that's like, man, do I want this guy to do his absolute best? Yeah, there's probably a little part of you that probably feels that way. But ultimately, you do want to win the chip. I mean, because it is about the team and the city of Philadelphia that's never won a Super Bowl before.
Well, to be honest, you never want your reserve to do better than you in sports.
Yeah, it's called Wally
because
Pipp.
regardless of a team could go undefeated, the roster's going to be different the next year. That's just how sports work. But his situation is unique because he's already been established to be the franchise quarterback. So that's the equivalent in basketball to somebody already having their contract. His situation is set, so therefore he can be honest because he knows when he's healthy he's going to be back.
Well,
One last thing,
know.
though. The backup quarterback is usually like the most popular guy on the roster. So
In the city.
With the other guys, or with
in the town period.
Yeah, on a team in the city, and imagine, you know, you're Nick Foles and you won a Super Bowl for the city of Philly.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, he's
legend.
made for the rest of his life.
It's a great question. I know we need to move
Great
on here.
question.
It is a great question of, if you were in Carson Wentz's shoes, would there be a part of you down deep inside that you would never acknowledge publicly that would be rooting for your own team to lose?
I would
That you
acknowledge
be
it
hoping
publicly.
your team lost. You
Yes.
would acknowledge it publicly.
Yes, this is why I was awful at team sports. Because I would have 100. And we shouldn't be so afraid of the word jealousy or jealous. Because of course he was. That was his team, and because of a stupid injury, he was not out there. Of course you're a little jealous.
Well,
Why wouldn't you be?
It doesn't work like that, Bees.
What do you mean it doesn't work that way?
I guarantee you, when you know you can't go, these are your brothers. and you want to see them do well. More importantly, when the organization does well, I do well too, because he still can say he's a Super Bowl champion. How many people are walking the earth right now that can say that they won a championship? You're not necessarily reciting their statistics.
Do you consider Drew Bledsoe a Super Bowl champion? I mean,
He
he was on the team when the Patriots won a Super Bowl.
Absolutely, because if it wasn't for Drew Bledsoe in that AFC Championship game against Pittsburgh, we would have never gotten to the Super Bowl.
And look, without Carson Wentz having the season that he did, the Eagles wouldn't have been where they were.
But I love this topic.
There's a little bit of a Pete Best kind of a characteristic to this, who was the Beatle who left and Ringo Starr became the drummer and the rest was history, that I think that fits into this circumstance.
Some of our Allison Porters in the corner so happy right now about that Beatles talk. To another quarterback on the mend, Deshaun Watson. He was lost for the season after Week 8, got that knee injury, and he was asked about the team's potential for 2018. Here he is.
It's through the roof. You know, we're as good as we think, and the work that we put in. And there's a lot of work that we put in before. And there's a lot of work we're going to put in through these 9 weeks. We have a long way to go, but at the same time, you know, we have that mindset that we want to break records together as us two, and then also as a team, and try to get that ultimate goal. But, you know, the ultimate goal is so far from us. We want to make sure that we, you know, focus on now, taking one day at a time, so we can get to where we want to go.
Can I make a statement? I'll give you a little hot take here. Everything he said and the concept that he and DeAndre Hopkins could be the best combo in the NFL is not far-fetched.
No.
I will make the following statement. If DeAndre Hopkins had been playing with an even average quarterback through most of his career, there would be no discussion of the best receiver in football that did not include him. He is every bit as good as Antonio Brown. He is every bit as good as Odell Beckham. He is every bit as good as Julio Jones.
You're not off at all on that. I mean, if you look at the quarterbacks that he's played with, and he's played with some pretty bad quarterbacks, he was still able to put up really good numbers. So imagine this year you get a healthy Deshaun Watson back who, when he was healthy, they led the league in scoring. He was the face of the franchise. I don't know, the face of the league. I don't know if people recognize this, but when Deshaun Watson was going off week after week, had the most popular jersey sale. I mean, we were literally talking about Deshaun Watson every week because he was must-watch TV.
Don't sleep if you're an NFL fan. That man right there, Deshaun Watson, is the future of the NFL. Period. A two-way player. I actually had him on my fantasy team when people slept on him.
How'd that work out? Really well?
Well, I lost in the Final Four.
Oh, my bad.
He got injured.
Because he got hurt.
Yep.
I totally agree with you. If he showed you flashes, if he stays healthy, that he is going to be a sensational NFL player.
But Matt Ryan has been an MVP, and Julio Jones is the best receiver in the game.
If DeAndre Hopkins was on Atlanta, DeAndre Hopkins is every bit as good.
You don't think Julio's the best receiver in the game?
You got to say Antonio Brown is the best receiver in the game right
And if DeAndre Hopkins had played his whole career with Ben Roethlisberger or Matt Ryan, we would be talking about him that way.
That's fair.
We got more football throughout the day. Because I don't know if you know this, we have 2.5 more hours. But